afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the STSN Government Degree College live YouTube channel. Today, I would like to have a discussion on the importance of communication skills in English. First of all, I should thank the principal of our college, Dr. Smita Sugawasi Garu, for giving me this opportunity and also encouraging me and supporting me to have this live video. So now I would like to talk about the skills that are to be imparted by the students in improving one's skills in English language. As you know, knowledge revolution is marking the present age. As Alvin Toffler said, mind is more powerful than muscle or money. The world wants persons with abundant knowledge today. The knowledge can be shared with this world only when we have a medium. This medium can be English. We are all aware of the fact that English as a link language is dominating the world today. In the backdrop of world becoming a global village, English has become an essential commodity like oil or microchip. It has become part and parcel of everyone's life who wants to aspire for better living in this society. With the entry of MNCs, multinational companies, English has become the language of opportunities. The situation is that if you don't feel that I'm exaggerating the things, if a student who is aspiring for the employment is able to speak 4 words in English, he can get a job of 4,000 salary. And 10 words in English, 10,000 salary, 50 words and 50,000 salary. That is the present trend of the MNCs that are conducting job melas. So the importance of English communication is increasing day by day, and that's why the educational institutions have the English communication skills as a subject in their colleges. And but if we notice the present scenario, a student who completes class 10 or intermediate or who is exiting from UG or PG degree is unable to speak at least a few sentences in English language, and he is not able to write at least a few sentences correctly. When such is the case, there should be done something to improve one's skills in English language. Why should we learn English language? This is the common question that is generally asked by the students. The British left us long ago. Even now, we are craving for learning English language. But the situation is like that. Every educated person, to be called a literate, should learn English language nowadays. That's why he is craving for the proficiency in English language to have a bright career in everywhere. So it is an established fact that English plays a vital role in modern times. It is no more the language of British or the people of England. It is the language of any country which aspires for the progress and prosperity. So in the backdrop of the world becoming a global village, even the people living in remote areas want their wards to acquire proficiency in English language. There is no doubt that English has become the language of job opportunities. It has become as important as oil or microchip. So today, the students, unless they have the proficiency in English language, are unable to have a bright future in this society. So at this juncture, let us have a discussion. Is English an easy language? So it's a commonly asked debatable question. So for this, no language is difficult for that matter. If we have the command over it, if we are acquainted with the language very often, if we see the language aspects very often, learn the LSRW that are prescribed for the language and a little grammar, everything will be useful. So let us observe certain sentences. Do you find any mistakes in these sentences? I have taken my meals. Generally, most of the students or the educated persons use these kind of expression. I have taken my meals. Is it a correct sentence? No, it's not. I have taken my meals is a wrong sentence. We should say I have had my meal. We cannot add s form to the meals, and also I have taken is not the right expression as per the standard English language. Let us observe another sentence. I am having a car. I am having a car is also a wrong expression. We should say I have a car. Have should not be used in continuous tense for possessions. Let us observe another sentence. Please explain me the meaning. Generally, we use to after it. So, please explain the meaning to me is a right sentence. Now, she hurted me. Generally, hurt has the three forms like hurt, not hurted. So, we say she hurt me. I have got a headache. I don't know why this expression has come into existence, but we should use a before it. I have got a headache will be the correct one. Now, the motorist committed the accident. Committed cannot collocate with the accident. We should say the motorist caused the accident. That would be the right sentence. Now, let us have a look at this question. What should we learn to get mastery over English? So, generally, students ask a question, Sir, how can I get the knowledge of English language? How can I speak effectively before others? How can I write effectively and fluently in English language? This is the common question asked by the students. Let us observe. What should we learn? What should we learn to have command over English language or to get mastery over English language? So the first and foremost thing that we need is vocabulary. Vocabulary is the essential means to express our feelings and thoughts. Without vocabulary, there is no language or literature. So to write anything or to speak anything, we need vocabulary. The next thing that we need is syntax. Syntax is the order of words in a sentence. The structure, how to frame a sentence, is very essential to speak or write the language. Combinations is another aspect that is needed for the learner of English language. Combinations, suppose word combinations, collocations are needed to speak correctly and effectively. And pronunciation, for that matter, is a very needed thing for the language learners. Of course, we may not pronounce like the Britishers or the Americans, but we have our own kind of pronunciation. So we should follow the received pronunciation that is prescribed by the British associations. Now, the spelling is another factor that we have to discuss to have command over English language. Do we need grammar? I don't think we should learn grammar separately. It is an integral part of the language. Euphemism is another aspect. Where should we use a polished word instead of sounding a rough word? Now, let us have a discussion on vocabulary. What is vocabulary? See, vocabulary means three things: words, phrases, and idiomatic expressions. Words, of course, many people know certain words in English language. Even a child who comes to school at the age of 5 or 6 uh, knows more than 300 words in English language, because most of our talk have a number of English words in it, and our Telugu is loaded with a number of words. So that's why we know words, but we don't know how to use them. And second is phrases. We cannot express certain ideas with mere words. We need certain phrases, and idiomatic expressions give beauty to the language. So these are very essential for learning the language. Let us observe the vocabulary that is existing in the language. No other language has this much of vocabulary. English has nearly 1 million words, more than 1 million words for that matter. Every day, more than 100 words are entering the language. There are nearly 5 lakh of words in general sector, and the remaining 5 lakh are in scientific or technical sector. Vocabulary can be classified into two. One is the structural and the second is content. Madam, blanking. లైవ్ వస్తాను దాంట్లో
అంటే దానికి దీనికి కొద్దిగా టైం పడుతుంది కదా.
బట్ ఇది ఇక్కడ ఎక్కడ దాన్ని పాస్ చేయడం ఇక్కడ
Awesome.
ఏం మాత్రమే అప్పుడు స్లైడ్ మార్చుకున్నాను.
నెట్ ప్రాబ్లం.
నెట్ ప్రాబ్లం.
నెట్ ప్రాబ్లం. వస్తున్నాయి అంటారు.
ఏంటారు మేడం చూడండి.
హలో
హలో మేడం ఇంకా నాకు రాలేదు.
షుగర్ మాట్లాడుకుందాం. ఎవరికైనా నచ్చి మాడికా
నేను వస్తాను. కెమెరా కూడా అవసరం చాలా క్లారిటీ వస్తుంది సార్. వాయిస్ బాగుంది సార్.
అక్కడ తీసాడు కోటం దగ్గర పీసలు
ఏ హోటల్
ఇదే కోటం దగ్గర
అట్లా మీకు ఇందాక వస్తాడే మనతో పాటు అబ్బాయి అబ్బాయి తీసుకున్నామా పోస్ట్
ఇచ్చిన సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసి
తీసుకో అలా తీసుకో. మధ్యలో ఉంటారా సుందర్ సార్
వస్తానండి. సౌండ్ అది మళ్ళీ రిపీట్ అవుతుంది.
చెప్పేసి చెప్పండి స్టార్ట్ చేసుకో. వచ్చేసి దగ్గరే కొద్దిగా
Well, let us continue the discussion on vocabulary now. Vocabulary can be classified into two categories, structural and content. Structural vocabulary deals with the grammatical aspect, how to frame a sentence, and the things that are needed for structuring a sentence. For example, articles, prepositions, interjections, and certain other auxiliary verbs come under structural vocabulary. And content vocabulary deals with the nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Now, let us see how vocabulary can be classified into active and passive. Active vocabulary uh, is the vocabulary that we use in our day-to-day conversations or the expression of the language in writing. But the passive vocabulary, we can understand a word, but we may not use the same in our day-to-day life. So that can be called the passive vocabulary. That's why active vocabulary is expressive vocabulary and passive vocabulary is receptive vocabulary. How many words do we need, especially a student or a seeker of a job needs a certain vocabulary? How many words do we need? So minimum requirement for communication is 2000 to 3000 words. At least 2000 words are needed for day-to-day conversations. And Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary has given a list of it at the end of the dictionary. An advanced learner needs more than 8,000 words in English language. In 1930, a grammarian by name Ogden said that 800 words are enough for day-to-day conversations. So words, mere knowing the meaning of a word, it doesn't mean we have command over that particular word. We should know how to use a word, what is the usage of the word. That means how can we use in a particular pattern and the collocation. How does that collocates with the other words in the language. These are very essential for learning the language effectively. Unless we know the collocation, we cannot use the language correctly and effectively. And phrases. Phrases are word combinations with special meanings. They say 2 or 3 words are combined. Generally, verbs with the prepositions or adverbs can be a phrase. A phrase gives a different meaning from the words that are existed in that particular phrase. Observe the following phrases. Take after, give in, break down, wear out, wear into, step on, give up, call on. But here, we don't have the meaning of individual words in that particular phrase. For example, take after means resembling. He resembles his father. We can say he takes after his father. Given means yield, surrender. For example, the criminal gave in to the police. Breakdown. Breakdown is a phrase that gives the meaning that a particular vehicle is seized or stopped to work. My car broke down on the way. Next, let us see the expression wear out. Wear out means using certain things until they become useless, not to use. And wear into is, suppose we say the umbrella wore into holes. Next, step on. Step on is treading something. Suppose he stepped on my foot mistakenly. Next, give up. Give up means leaving something. And call on is visiting somebody. So, next, let us have a discussion on idiomatic expressions. The idioms are most essential for a learner of English language to use the language beautifully. See, idioms also are peculiar to a particular language. In English language, there are a number of idioms. Say, let us observe certain idiomatic expressions. Cats and dogs. Cats and dogs. Word. Here, individual words give the individual meanings, but when they are combined and used as an idiomatic expression, they give a different meaning. Cats and dogs. So suppose in the expression, it rained cats and dogs yesterday. It rained cats and dogs yesterday. It means that it rained heavily yesterday. So to say the language beautifully we can use the idiomatic expressions, sixes and sevens. It means the certain things are spread randomly. For example, the books on the table are at sixes and sevens. The furniture in the room is at sixes and sevens. So another expression, Dutch treat. Dutch treat means suppose when in an outing, if we pay individually for our expenses, it is called Dutch treat. Funny farm is a mental hospital. Though the words individually give a different meaning, but we have a different meaning in the combination of these things. And home free means free from all the troubles. Cloud nine is the happy thing. So we are very happy. So we can say we are on cloud nine. Ram's milk, a difficult thing that cannot be achieved or done. Herculean task is a hard task that cannot be done. Big mug or big shot means a respectable elderly person in a particular place. And grease the palm deals with the bribing somebody. So these kind of expressions are very useful to make the language beautiful, to speak or write effectively. Next, we need syntax. Syntax, as we have already discussed, is the structure, the order of words in a sentence. If we use a particular order, it gives a meaning. And if we use a different order, it gives some other meaning. Suppose I had written a letter. I had a letter written. Observe these two sentences. I had written a letter means I had done something there. But I had a letter written means it is a causative. It means that we had something written by somebody. So these kind of structures or verb patterns are very much needed for the students to learn the language effectively. Syntax is nothing but the order of words in a sentence. There are nearly 275 structures in English language. So it is A.S. Harnway has written a book on it, structures in English language. So it is very useful for the students to get command over the structures. Next, if the order of the words in a sentence changes, the meaning also changes, or it may not have any meaning at all. So we need to learn the language. Next, let us observe certain beautiful expressions. Drive the nail. She pulled a long face. My shoes are worn out. The umbrella wore into holes. The lace came, the lace came undone. The engine went dead. So these expressions are very much needed for the students to use the language effectively and correctly. I'm unable to do this. Next, don't make faces. Tether the dog. And these expressions, say for example, we cannot say tie the dog. Tether the dog is the right expression. So curd turned sour. So it is sultry. Seeds were broadcast. It got stuck up. It is getting dark. He is going bald. Generally, see, go have we feel that there is a single meaning. Go has several meanings. So suppose he went at it bald headed. He went at it bald headed. He's in a confused state. He didn't know what to do. He grew faint. He turned a deaf ear, thread the needle. So such stock or frozen sentences are very much needed for the students to use the language effectively. Now, let us have a discussion on the combinations that are needed for enriching our language skills. Combinations. What are the combinations? In English language, by learning grammar, we can understand there are nearly 208 combinations in English language. Of course, unfortunately, there are no books available on it. We can learn this only by reading certain texts or by practicing certain grammar structures. So combinations, for example, say if we say I have been to Chennai. I have been to Chennai. Here, haven't been give a different meaning as we use I have been doing something in a different sentence. For example, I have been to Chennai means I went to Chennai and came back. So I went and came back is the meaning of I have been to Chennai or I have been. So such combinations have plus been using in a different meaning is a combination. Such combinations are there nearly 208 in English language. Next, so these can be learned by grammar books. Next, let us know something about the pronunciation that is very essential for the learner of the English language, especially the learners as ESL learners, English as second language learners are very much needed to have certain command over the pronunciation. English is an unphonetic language. It doesn't have one-to-one correspondence with the letter and the sound. So there are only 26 letters, but we have to produce 44 sounds in English language. So that's why we say English is a slippery language with regard to pronunciation. Let us observe certain words. Let us check whether we pronounce them correctly or not. See the word V-I-L-L-A-G. We say village, but actually this should be pronounced as village. And G-I-R-A-F-F-E is not giraffe, it is giraffe. C-R-E-A-T-U-R-E should be pronounced as creature, not creature. And C-O-L-L-E-G-E is college, not college. And G-I-M-M-I-C-K is gimmick, not gimmick or gimmick. Gimmick. It should be pronounced as gimmick only. And G-E-N-U-I-N-E is not genuine or genuine as most of the people pronounce. It should be pronounced as genuine. And L-I-E-U-T-E-N-A-N-T is lieutenant, though we don't find F or PH or GH letters in it. And V-E-H-I-C-L-E is vehicle, not vehicle. This is kangaroo, not kangaroo. And gesture should be the pronunciation of G-E-S-T-U-R-E. G-A-O-L is jail. Just as we pronounce J-A-I-L, we should pronounce G-A-O-L as jail. So these are certain words. There are some other words like C-H-A-O-S is chaos, not chaos. And next, let us see the pronunciation aspects. The sounds can be classified into two categories. One is the vowel sound and the second is consonant sound. There are nearly 20 vowels in English language. They can be further classified as monophthongs and diphthongs. So monophthongs are the pure vowels. They are 12 in number, and diphthongs can be called as glides, as there are two sounds in that particular thing. Next, monophthongs can be classified as the short vowels and long vowels. So let us know these sounds to pronounce the words correctly. So in any dictionary, you will find these symbols and you can learn the sounds of it, and you can refer to the dictionary for the pronunciation of a particular word. So in phonetics, you should also learn the word stress and sentence stress, and the intonation, how we should speak with a falling tone and a rising tone and falling rising tone. So falling tone generally occurs in the ordinary statements, WH questions, commands, and question tags seeking agreement. Rising tone generally occurs in yes or no questions, WH questions with warm and friendly nature, and requests, incomplete utterances. Falling rising tone occurs in apologies, insinuations, and unpleasant news. Spelling is also one of the difficult aspect in English language because as there is no one-to-one correspondence in English language, we use one letter for different sounds, and sometimes we use for a single sound different letters. For example, observe COUGH and THOUGH. COUGH is pronounced as cough, but the same spelling is there in THOUGH, but we pronounce it as though. So these kind of variations, and sometimes we use SH for Sha, and sometimes TI for Sha, and CHI for Sha, and uh, sometimes SS. So these kinds of differences are there. So in spelling, for example, observe the words here. 5. In 5, we are using F, but in philosophy, we are going to use PH. In cough, we are using GH for fa sound. And observe the another set of words that are there in the slide. Ship. SH is used for sha. But in the word like election, TI is used for sha. And in the word machine, we are using CH for sha. And in the same manner, mustache. Here also we are using CH for sha. Grammar. Grammar is another aspect that is needed for learning the language correctly. So grammar gives us the rules of the language. Do we really need grammar to speak English language? Do we need the grammar to learn a language? For that matter, grammar is should not be learned separately. It resembles a vitamin in that ill effects may spring from a deficiency, and an excessive dose must be wasteful and may be harmful even. So we should learn grammar, the minimum grammar that is necessary for using the language correctly and effectively. So many grammar books are available for the students to learn the language. So the good old Bible of grammar in English language is Renan Martin and David Green grammar book, high school English grammar and composition. And there are several other grammar books that are now prescribed for the competitive examinations even. So they are all helpful for the students to enrich their language. But we should not stick to the grammatical rules when we are the beginners. We should speak the language as it comes to our tongue. Try to speak whatever that is known to you. Learn to use a particular word in a structure. So by that you can practice the English language correctly. Next, let us see the euphemism that is very essential for the learner of the English language. Here, euphemism deals with using a polished word instead of a rough sounding word. For example, if we say he is mad, it sounds rude. We say he is insane. And instead of saying dirty, we say unclean. Instead of using the words latrine or lavatory, we say restroom. So suppose if somebody uh, is no more, we say he is dead. No, it's not the right expression. It should be used as he passed away. He joined the heavenly choir. He is no more. like that. So euphemism gives us to use the language correctly and effectively and sweet sounding. So euphemism is one of the essential aspects for the learner of the English language to communicate English correctly. What makes us proficient in learning English? To learn English language correctly and effectively, we need to listen to the English news, conversations, interviews, and speeches regularly. So this is one of the foremost suggestion that is needed for the students. Listen to news, conversations, interviews that are in English language and speeches. They will help you to learn how to utter a sentence correctly. Next, you will have to learn speaking the language. Speaking in English whenever you get an opportunity is needed for learning speaking effectively. And share a joke in English language with your friends. Whenever there is an opportunity, narrate a story or an incident or an anecdote to the children. Read a story every day. Reading a story is a good exercise to learn the language effectively, because we will come to know several words in context. But in context, we will understand, without referring to the dictionary, we will understand the words of the meanings of the words. Spare at least 1 hour a day to read. Read certain grammar books or spoken English books prescribed, and refer to a dictionary very often. It is an art. Referring to a dictionary is an art. Whenever you find a difficult word, refer to the dictionary and find out not only the meaning, the pronunciation, the grammatical aspect of that particular word, and write down in a notebook. With that, you can enrich your English language. And another exercise that you can do is write a diary or letter in English language. Very often you can refer to it, and the mistakes you have committed can be rectified in the later stages. No person can write anything correctly in the beginning. So pitfalls are very common. So make mistakes. That is the first step to learn the language. Later, you should rectify them by using certain books or by taking the advice of the teachers or the experts in that particular language. So, with this, now I can conclude this class. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And now we will have the continuation of this class perhaps another time. I will send the link to you later. Thank you very much. Thank you.